Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be working on the boat again. So in the last one, you saw how we got our fuel pump wired in and our bilge pump hooked up. Well, in this one, we're going to be working on the starter system. So we're going to throw in a whole new starter system to the boat so we can hopefully have a nice, reliable starting boat on the lake. So let me show you what we got. So coming inside the boat here, this is what we're working with. We got this battery, kind of old leads. Over here, everything's super rusty, all these connections. The camera, come on, pick it up. So you can see all the rust on the starter. And it pulls just... something smokes down there at the starter and it smokes up at the battery, so something's just building resistance. And rather than figuring out and fixing a connection, I think it's best that we just replace everything for reliability. So, boom. We got a new starter right there. We got new big leads, 2-gauge wire, and a whole bunch of connections for all the other wires. So, let's get to work. First, I'm going to start by disconnecting my battery so I don't zap myself like I did in the last video. So, yeah. Take all these positives off. Now that we got all that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and just do this side as well. Because we do need to take this big lead off eventually. So, right here, this starter's pretty simple. If you look at the new one, for an example, we have 2 bolts right here and here that are coming up from the underside. So the head of the bolt is going to be there, and the other head of the bolt is going to be way down here. And then you also have this metal bracket, if you look right here, that's going to be holding on the back side of the starter because the starter is huge and very heavy. Let's not forget though, it's always good to take a photo of everything before you take it apart. And I'm going to start by doing all these wire connections to the starter itself right here. I'm going to disconnect them all and see what we're working with here. So I'm just spinning this thing off. Our new one came with all new hardware, which is really nice. I wasn't sure since I bought it off Amazon. Wow, okay. So we got that off. Look at all this. Look at all that rust down all these wires. This is terrible. This is junk. This lead is no good. Get it out of here. You can see, look at the heat. It was melting this rubber because this was, oh my gosh. That's probably where our problem mostly was. But I'll keep this starter for backup. It can be a backup starter. Put it in a box for emergencies only. And look, on all these wires, look at all this corrosion and everything. No good. So we're going to be fixing all these up, making them nice and new. So I got all those wires up and out of the way. Let's remove this big guy right down here. All these starter bolts, at least for me, are 9/16. So I'm just trusting I have my wrench on the right way. Yep, we're on lefty-loosey. I'm adding in an extension, maybe it can help me out a little. I'm going to the backside one that's super tucked up in there so that my last one's the easiest one, closest to me. Last one, let's hope I don't drop it. This is gonna be great. Oh my gosh, got it. Sweet. Boom. Look at that rusty thing. That will be my backup starter. So I kind of went crazy and it's getting late and I got work tomorrow. So I just went ahead and threw the starter in and redid all the connections. So check out what we've done here. So what we have here is every single one of these wires I stripped and put a new end on, and most of the little wires I was able to crimp new connectors on, and with that they were all heat shrink crimps connectors, and then the bigger wires I put new brass ends on and stripped back the wire and all that, so I got the clean stuff. And then obviously our brand new battery lead, and I redid the oil pressure one while I was at it right here. And then back here we got our new ground lead. I redid this connection on this ground lead here as well. Here's our starter solenoid, I'm pretty sure. No, this is the starter solenoid. It's on top of the starter. I don't know what this might be a starter switch or something. I don't know what this is. This is a solenoid, but I don't know what for really. This yellow wire runs up and it comes down here to the starter. So yeah, I might want to replace this, but it works beautifully. And coming over here, I got the new connections on the battery with the new leads, obviously, so everything's super nice. And let's crank this over and see how she sounds. So in previous videos, I don't know if I have any clips, but this thing has just, and then it will fire up. But now, you ready? Man, everything works so well on this thing. This is awesome. Well, sweet. So tomorrow, what I'm gonna do after work is well, for you guys it's gonna be like 5 seconds. For me, I gotta work a whole day. But we're gonna pull the boat out and we're gonna clean this whole mess up inside of here. We're gonna start it up, run it, see how it does. We're gonna tidy up all of these old switches and get the panel fully top finished off and everything. And we'll install the decals on the boat to make it. I have all the registration done for it. We just gotta put the registration stuff on. And so then we can go out to the lake on Friday. So tomorrow's Thursday and we'll get all that done and get it all ready. And I'm saying we slap a lawn chair right there and we slap a foldable lawn chair right here. And we put this drain plug in and we go see if this boat floats, because I've owned it for 3 years and never put it in water. So let's see if she floats. But I'm super happy we got all this finished up on the boat. We got to run by the shed tomorrow. I'm going to take you guys with me. We got to grab some more parts for this boat that are just sitting there, like the cap that goes on top of the carburetor. I looked up a new one of those because I was like, heck, I'll just replace it. They're like $200 or $150. So I'm like, yeah, no, I'm using the old one. And they're like just a fire. So what I was saying before I got cut off because the storage was full was I was going to swing out to the property, which I'm at. And I was going to pick up these little, they're not air filters. They're like to keep sparks and flame backfiring. It's like a fire or something. I don't know I know what the word is, I just don't know it in my head right now. But yeah, I got 2 of them. I got a piece of tubing, the 90 elbow that we're gonna use. Connect it all, should be all good. So yeah, I got tons of carburetors and stuff. There's a carburetor, there's a carburetor. Extra alternator. All kinds of pipes and clamps and rubber grommets. So if you have any leaks, we got extras of everything. There's the truck. Gotta lock up the shed and got a few more errands to run today. I'm gonna go get another SD card and Got run by the post office. We got the boat pulled out of the garage because I got everything wired up. So look, we got our blower motor. We got our fuel pump. You can hear that run. Got our bilge pump. You can hear that run. And then nav lights. See those light up? This one is gonna be interior lights right here, but I don't have anything hooked up yet, and that's horn. So yeah, sweet. We just hooked the water up to the boat, so let's fire her up. I didn't have the kill switch in. Whoops. Well, I had it in, it's just I had it wired wrong. So I got the kill switch wired correct now, and it works great. But I'm curious, well here, I'll show you. Turn the fuel pump on. There's two ways, it's a four-way kill switch. Which way do we have it hooked up right now? Gauge looks good. Our fuel is reading full, and I only know we have 5 gallons in it. Our voltmeter is not reading. So if we're gonna go out to the lake tomorrow, I'm gonna go test to see if it's true or if it's just not hooked up correctly. Let's go see what we got in the battery with it running. Okay, we got 12.6. That's not as high as I'd like it to be. That's barely anything. Dang. So our alternator may be charging it, but barely. Let's check. I got this in the ground over here. Let's see if I can go all the way over to the alternator. Oh, the lead on the alternator is all rusted up. So, in that last clip you saw, it was dark out, and we had the boat running. And so I think what I found was that I have a voltage drop in my alternator system. So from that battery to right here, I think this rusty lead is stealing a lot of my voltage, because the battery sits at 12.6, which it's not like it's draining the battery since it just stays at 12.6, so it's barely charging it, I think. And when I touch the leads across the battery, it says 12.6, and when I touch the negative there and the positive over here, right on the post of the alternator, I get only 2 volts, so I'm losing 10 volts somewhere. So I think I'm gonna address that, and if not, I have another alternator after I replace the leads laying in my shed that I'm gonna try, and then I'll put
a new one on after trying that one. But I think cleaning up the lead on there will work great and it'll charge a lot better. But we went out to the lake with this boat. Let me tell you how it went. So I was gonna film it, but trust me, it wasn't that eventful at all. We literally got there and we were rushing sunset, and we got the boat in the water, went to get out of the no wake zone, and it died. So then we were trying to figure it out. We got it running real smooth, and we did like a maybe quarter-mile straight where it was running real good, and then it died, and we had to limp it back to the dock with it just idling, and we pulled it on the trailer. So we believe it was the choke shot on it. It has electronic choke, but when we were messing with all the adjustments, I unplugged the choke so the choke would set back down, and I never plugged it back in. So when we started going again after we raised the idle just a little bit on the boat, the choke was still open because it hadn't cooled off yet. And I think what happened was we got down the lake and the choke shut because it was fired up and it would idle kind of just fine and we could troll back to the dock, but anything more than that, it would have some black smoke coming out the back, which is like running super rich, which would make sense if the choke was shut. And so I think that was our problem, because we also pulled the spark plugs out and they were completely sooted up. And so we fouled out all the spark plugs, I think, doing that as well. So I got new spark plugs, and then I went ahead and got new points and condenser for the distributor. Just when we're in the electrical system, might as well tune all that up because they look all right, but maintenance, you know, we want reliability out on the lake. And so yeah. And then one more thing that's a little bit more extensive, I guess you could say, is we took all the rockers off and we took the push rods and lifters out, because I believe we have 1 or 2 collapsed lifters because it was making a lot of like a ticking sound. Or not ticking, it was like a tapping sound, which is what a lifter would do. And it's pretty common, I think, on these engines. And so it was running fine, it's just a little noisy. And so we took the valve cover off, checked the rockers, and we went to readjust the rockers. And we were having some issues with some not wanting to really tighten up the play in them. And we were doing everything right with how they say by the book and watching some other YouTube videos on some tips and tricks. And so that's where we then went to take this side cover off to inspect the lifters, and we found that we have some lifters that may be causing a few issues. So on Monday I'm gonna go to G&G Machining and I'm gonna get some new lifters, and I cleaned up these push rods while they were out because they had some pitting on them. You can't see, these sides don't look that bad, but might as well just get new push rods as well, just because the other sides look pretty bad pitting wise, and it's an easy refresh. But I had, if you guys followed for a long time, you'll see the video of me tearing apart that boat engine. I have all the old lifters labeled in baggies from that engine, and the old push rods and rockers and all that in that bag there, and valves. And I was able to compare these lifters with my old ones. I still got to do a little bit more research to make sure it's really hard to test for bad lifters, what I found out. And so I got to watch a few more video clips before I know what I'm saying with what the ones I think are bad and the ones I think are good, because they're like pressured, oil gets in them, and they're kind of, then the oil is what kind of is the pressure. So if they plunge soft, it could just be because they're not primed with oil, or some are like really stiff and I can't plunge them with the push rod, just like pushing on it. So I don't know if that's a locked up one and that's a collapsed one, or if the soft ones are collapsed ones and they're not building enough tension. So then it's just, when it goes up and down, it's just like clunking or tapping. So I don't know. I need to do more research on that because I want to figure it out. But I'm pretty sure we got a little bit of a lifter problem, but be a lot more better of feeling if I was confident in that versus just realizing, oh, I have all good lifters and I can put them back in and not have to spend more money on the boat. So yep, but we tore it apart just to inspect since it's 2 little easy covers. And yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit more research, but that will be mostly in the next video. We'll figure out all this problems and we'll take it out for a true lake test, because I'm pretty sure once we get all this figured out, it's gonna run great and really smooth, and we'll have a nice long test drive that will be easy to video and everything for you guys. But yeah. One thing I also wanted to mention is the fuel pump is wired in. I put a 10 amp fuse for that, and then I got the bilge wired in with an inline fuse, 10 amps, and then it's run all the way up here. And so the pump is, if this gets pulled, the pump shuts off, as well as right here. All my switches, they're all hooked up. So I did that one late night. It was dark out, and I was just kind of getting it done quick. There's still some more final stuff. I might add in a little relay and fuse box in the back instead of running these inline fuses. I'll run the stuff off the relays and the fuses, but that doesn't really need it for testing purposes. The inline fuses are going to do just fine, and nothing's really that much of a, I don't have anything that draws that much power in this system to have to really worry about. But yeah, I just wanted to wrap up this video and let you know what we're working on in the next video. So if you guys are curious into all this, I haven't really found a lot of videos on figuring out what are good lifters and bad lifters. They kind of just, there's nothing very vague, so maybe I can make something on that to help future people out. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I just got back from vacation, so I realized I didn't film an outro for this, so I just wanted to wrap it all up. And yeah, like and subscribe so you don't miss out. The boat is coming along. I just had all my vinyl and foam and everything come in while I was gone. And yeah, so once we get all these new parts to throw the engine back together or figure out what's good and bad of what we have, we'll be set, and we'll be back out on the lake for a proper test drive where you guys can come along. And even if it does terrible, I'm still gonna film it. You can see either terrible lake day or a very successful lake day. But I can't wait, and stay tuned. See you later. Bye.